Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, we have some fantastic questions for you today. Quite a few. We'll jump into them in just a minute, but don't forget, like, share, subscribe, you know, all that crazy stuff. Most importantly, though, do shop at KendoStar.com. That is what supports the channel mainly. That's my Kendo equipment website. It's fantastic, amazing, wonderful. Of course, I'd say that, so go and check out how well reviewed we are. Ask the people in your dojo. I'm sure there's plenty of people in your dojo by now that are using KendoStar. Also, I put out a video yesterday in the Kendo Show Early Access group, how to improve your kote strikes. It's coming to YouTube on Monday, but if you want to go and see it right now, you can go and watch it for free, obviously. It's always for free. In the Kendo Show Early Access group. It's on Facebook. There's a link in the description. Free to join, of course. So if you're not in that group, get in the group. You get to watch the videos early when I put out the instructional videos. I've got more coming as well. We did one a couple of months ago on men. This time it's on kote. I've got do in the pipeline. And I've got others as well. So make sure you check those out. Right, let's get into these questions. So, first one, I'm looking around where I'll be living after university, and it looks like I'm probably going to end up living in a place without any dojos within traveling distance. Apart from continuing to practice at home, what would you recommend? I'm obviously not in a position to try and start a club myself, having only started in September. Well, it really depends, to be honest. It depends where you are and what sort of traveling distance is. You know, if you're in the UK, it's you know, these days there's traveling distance dojos within most places, you know, within sort of half an hour to an hour. So, you know, I know for some people that's probably more than they're willing to travel, but that's the state of things at the moment, I'm afraid. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I mean, you could obviously train at home, but you're going to need to practice with other people if you want to improve. So you could look at perhaps putting together a sort of practice group in your area, try to see if there's anybody nearby that can potentially help you. Maybe from a sort of the nearest club. Maybe you could go over there once or twice a month. You know, with a bit of effort, I think you could manage it and commitment. But it really is down to how much you want to do that. But I think that's the best way to go about it. In all honesty, so yeah, good luck with that. Next one. Hi Andy, I've been practicing Kendo for a few months now, before and after pandemic stop. Otherwise, it would have been almost 2 years. My Shinai Tsukagawa has degraded a bit, and now my Tsubadome doesn't fit properly, because while it gets a bit hard to push it all the way up, as it should, after a few strikes it becomes loose, and I keep having to push it up every 3 or 4 strikes. Any suggestions on how to fix this? I was thinking of adding a bit of liquid silicone to the inside border of the Tsubadome to make the circle smaller, but I wanted to ask you first. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you can start adding stuff to the Tsubadome. It might make the problem worse. So yeah, if you're using one of like the really basic Tsubadome, the really basic ones, then sometimes, yeah, they tend to, they don't grip the best all the time after you've used them for a while, for a few months. It's one of the first things that's worth upgrading is your Tsubadome. If you get one of the ones, we have a couple on KendoStar, the Fudo style, they're quite good. But my favorites are the Tsubatomo style. They're like a kind of plastic with a sort of rubber center section. They really grip to the shinai. I've been using those for years, and they really do grip to the shinai, and they don't move. So I'd suggest that, to be honest, rather than trying to stick stuff to your current Tsubadome, which might indeed make the problem worse. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, you've been struggling with the striking distance lately. A lot of my sensei are saying that I take a small step with my left foot before striking, leading to me striking too close and not hitting with the correct part of the shinai. I tried to correct this during Jigeiko last night, and I felt I had to launch myself quite far and stretch my arms in order to make the correct distance, and I lost my balance afterwards. Do you have any tips or methods I could use to ensure making solid strikes from the right distance? Thanks a lot. You mustn't, when you're in your cutting distance, you mustn't move your left foot before you hit. Whether that's resulting in you taking too close a step or not, I don't know. But what you need to do is, when you're doing your basic men practice, your Kihon practice, you need to get yourself to a distance that you can definitely reach with one step without stepping up with your left foot. And practice doing your men strikes that way, and making sure that you're hitting correctly with the correct part of the shinai on the correct area. Also, you should be stretching your arms out when you strike. Your arms should be pretty much extended, not locked, but pretty much extended. Yeah, they shouldn't be this way. Okay, shouldn't be this way with your elbows bent. All right, or like this or anything like that. Men, this way. Men. Your elbows should be pretty much, your arms, sorry, should be pretty much straight. You don't need to lock them tight. But that's what you need to do anyway. So you need to judge that as you make your step in to strike. And otherwise, it's just going to be practice, I'm afraid. You're just going to have to repeat it. There's no shortcut. Okay, so just keep on repeating it. Next one. After a certain amount of time in Kendo and successful attainment of Dan level, do we eventually settle in our own style? What do you make of that? What is there to embrace? What is there to avoid or be cautious of? And be very, 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 very careful of thinking about words like your own style. It isn't something that I think is a healthy way to consider your approach to Kendo as, this is my style of Kendo. There is, I don't like that at all, personally. There's correct and incorrect, and obviously everybody's body's different and everybody moves in a slightly different way. So everybody has a slight sort of personal, I really hesitate to use the word style. I don't like it because it's used in other martial arts to mean something else. But there is obviously stylistic differences between each person that are sort of individual as their personalities. But the goal, of course, is that we're all sort of on the same sort of path, and Kendo is quite uniform. So I don't like the idea of saying, we have our own style of Kendo. I mean, to some extent we do, but you should never use that as an excuse for not doing it properly or correctly, which is something that I think is unfortunately quite common, especially once you get to sort of the mid-range grades, like people like 3rd Dan, 4th Dan, something like that. 3rd Dan to 5th Dan probably start to think that they, it's that kind of Kendo Dunning-Kruger effect where they think they know everything about Kendo now. And it's not till you start to sort of get into 5th Dan plus that you start to realize, actually, no, you know less than you did at all. Maybe there's a point at which you start to develop more of your own individual style, so per se. I'm not there yet, so I can't really necessarily say that. I'm still very much trying to do things as what I consider correct as possible, following the examples that I'm given. I think we should be careful around considering developing our own style, in all honesty. Handy, can you talk a little bit about the effectively taking the center before a strike? It seems like every time I'm at Isokuito no Mae, or a little closer, I can't really take the center well. I'm trying just turns the opponent and I, putting a lot of pressure back and forth and trying to wrestle for it. I think you're probably overthinking it. I think it's something that's emphasized in the teaching of, especially in the beginnings of Kendo, is the sort of taking the center. Essentially, yes, you need to take contact with your partner and try to put your shinai in the middle, because you want to swing the shinai in a straight line on the center line, the seichusen. But it's not the case. It's like, right, you gotta take the center like this, and then both of you are like kind of pushing against each other. And you end up in a sort of wrestling situation, exactly as you're describing. So yeah, that's definitely something to bear in mind. Look, when you get into your distance, just try to put your shinai in the sort of middle. Make sure it's got contact with the other person. See what it's doing. See how they're reacting. If you push against it and they push back, then maybe you've got the opportunity to strike there. If they don't push back and you are able to get into this a clean route to the center, then maybe that's a different opportunity to strike. It's all about studying those different sort of aspects and how differently your opponent reacts to your actions in that case. But I don't want you to sort of really sort of cling on to the idea that you have to strongly take the center. You do have to take the center, yes, but you can't both take the center at the same time. So you're both trying to do it, and if you both just push against each other like this, then it's not going to end well. One of you's going to sort of get clipped on the kote or something like that. So yeah, just relax a bit. Okay. Hello, I hope your week is going well. Do you have any general advice or recommended resources for training or practicing with children ages 5 to 13 or so? I expect that many of us who started in university have not practiced in Japan, have little experience with this, but it comes to mind when you recently discussed the fact that most community dojos in Japan are mostly dedicated to training children. Yeah, that's true. I've seen some information in a few books and I've seen videos, but I'm curious if there are any overarching points or great resources out there that you would recommend. Thank you. Right, so I replied to this. Yes, there's a great resource out there. It's a YouTube channel called The Kendo Show. You might have heard of it. And there's a specific video on there called Practicing Kendo with Kids. It's about a year old now. And I specifically talk exactly about how to practice with children. It's because most of us outside of Japan don't have any experience of practicing with children. We don't know how to practice with children. And many people just treat it like it's another jigeko, another sort of practice, almost trying to defeat or compete with the child. Look, when you're practicing with a child, the idea is that you're supposed to be kind of helping them improve. Yeah, there's no point raining down on them and battering them, right? If they're little kids, even if they're sort of if you're sort of in your 20s or 30s and they're sort of 13 or 14, there's going to be a difference in not just physical strength but ability as well. You have to try and you have a responsibility as an adult to from a Kendo point of view, to help them on their journey and to help pull them up through that kind of keiko. Let them do the sort of keiko that will help them get better. It's called hikitate keiko, where you pull them up. So that means that sometimes you strike, sometimes you let them strike, but you have to try to get them to make positive attacks as much as possible. I really recommend you go and watch that video, because I talk through the process with a demonstration with my own kids. So yeah, I really recommend you watch that. Anybody who does often practice with kids, you should definitely watch that video, because I see it all the time. People really not understanding how they're supposed to practice with children. And the other thing I'd say as well is, yes, although children are smaller and they are don't have the physical strength always as the rest of us, it doesn't mean that they should be given a free pass on some things. Like they should still try with their hardest intent. They should use a loud voice, and Kendo should be there to help train their mind and spirit as well as their body. It's a difficult thing because that's the purpose of Kendo. The purpose of Kendo isn't to entertain children, and that's where it becomes very difficult, because children do have a sort of slightly shorter attention span, and they don't. Some of the most kids, and it's true. This is true with adults. They want to come into Kendo because it looks fun, and it's often not fun, at least not the whole time. And you can try and make it fun, but it depends. If you want them to get good at Kendo, to be particularly strong at Kendo, there's a very difficult balance to draw there, where you have to get a certain amount of sort of buy-in from the child, who's prepared to commit to perhaps engaging in practice they're not going to enjoy, and also from the parents who are obviously going to have to understand that Kendo isn't just a sort of entertainment activity for them. If that's what they want it to be and that's what the kid wants to be, and you're happy with them, as an instructor in the dojo. I understand that this question isn't necessarily coming from the point of view as a instructor of a dojo, but if you are the instructor of a dojo and you want to teach kids, then you have to make that decision as to whether you're happy or not for them to do that. If they want to just treat it as sort of entertainment, a bit of fun after school sort of thing, then that's fine, but don't expect them to get really good at it. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. So yeah. Hello Andy, I wanted to take Kendo seriously. My goal right now is I want to be able to play for my national team one day. It's not an easy task at all, but I'm dedicating my heart and soul into this. My class training is only twice a week, but I've been practicing every day. How can I go about practicing at a higher level even on my own? What kind of training regimen did you do that really helped you when you were preparing for any tournaments, especially when I'm on my own without having someone there? I feel like the practice I've been doing on my own hasn't been meaningful enough. I want my kendo to be strong and beautiful. I just don't know what steps to take afterwards towards to get that. All right, so look, when I first started out at the beginning of my sort of journey on the national team, when I first joined it, my club was only practicing twice a week as well. And in the beginning, I was only able to go to two practices a week. Listen, if you really want to be on your national team, there's a couple of things you got to understand. One is that going on your national team, it's not just about trying to attain sort of personal glory and traveling to lots of places, doing lots of shiai. Of course, that's great and it's cool and everything, and it is part of it. But what you've got to understand is, especially if you're from a country where there's funding provided for your national team, you have to understand that people's money is going towards you attending the shiai. So you have to realize that there's a responsibility for you to give it the commitment that it requires. Further, if you're talking about joining a tournament like the World Championships, where you want to stand in the same shiaijo as sort of professional kendoka, you have to stand on the same floor as them and go toe to toe with them. It's not a case of going there and just having a go. I'm happy. One of my sort of pet peeves really that I sometimes hear from national team players is, I was happy I got to do shiai with a Japanese team, and it's like, well, yeah, but you got destroyed. Aren't you gutted about that? And it's like, well, no, because of course I got destroyed. It's like, well, I'm kind of like, well, where's your ambition? Like, we've seen miracles happen in the World Championships. The US team did a fantastic job of proving that. And that was, they didn't go out there with the attitude of, just happy to be in the shiai with the top players. So what I'm saying is, look, I know you're talking at the very beginning of your journey. I'm sort of rambling a bit on it because it is one of my pet peeves, as I say. But look, what I'm saying is, if it is something that you really want, it's going to have to be something that really consumes a large part of your life from now on, even if you're only training twice a week. And what you need to do is, you can practice saburi at home, you can practice ashizabaki at home, but the best thing you can do at home is mitori geiko. You need to do mitori geiko. You need to video your own keiko, video on your own kendo, and then you need to watch some of the best kendo in the world over and over and over, and you need to compare the two, find where the differences are, analyze that, see if you can bring that into your own kendo. It doesn't matter how different the level is between you and them. I've been doing that since I was a Q grade. I've been looking at Eiga sensei, Miyazaki sensei, Takanabe sensei. I've been looking at them since I was a beginner almost, and trying to emulate them. I didn't look at them and think, well, they're 7th dan and I'm only Ikkyu or Shodan or whatever, so of course it's different. I didn't look at it like that. I was like, how can I do it the same as that guy? Because we're the same human being, right? We're made of the same stuff. It's not that they're superhuman or they're robots or something. We're made of the same intrinsic stuff, right? So it's just a case of how I can get my body to move in the same way as them. That's how I was doing that in those early days. So that's definitely something you absolutely need to do. Keep yourself fit. Think about what you eat. is probably important as well. It depends on how old you are. When you're younger, in your 20s and stuff, like caring about what you eat doesn't tend to affect you so much. Well, it depends on the person, I guess. But it didn't. I didn't care about it so much. But these days, I have to be more careful. Especially, I'm no longer a member of the national team, but I still have very big ambitions in Kendo that I still work very hard towards every day. So it's something I have to care about at my age. So yeah, all of these things are definitely part of it. Then you need to try and get to as many keikos as you can. Even if you can only do 2 at your dojo, that's fine. See if you can get out to some other dojos, even if it means traveling. You need Shiai experience and more Mitori Geiko. Keep doing the Mitori Geiko. Watch the Shiai. Don't just watch the Kendoka. Watch the Kendoka as well. Watch those amazing Kendoka, those brilliant world's best players, but also watch the Shimpan. What is Ippon? What counts as Ippon and what doesn't count as Ippon? One of the things, and this is the thing that I think is, I'm going to go on a real rant now. This is Kendo rant, but I'm going to wind this up soon because I can go really deep into this, but I'm not going to. But one of the things that I think really affects Kendo players is when they refuse to try to understand the decisions made by Shimpan. They'll look at Shiai. Just the other day, I've seen crazy comments about the All Japan Championships the other day. Well, why wasn't that Ippon was wrong? Oh, those Hachidans were wrong. They were wrong about that Ippon, and they were wrong about the other one as well. It's like, well, come on. How are what's the chances? Of course, the referees make mistakes, but what's the chances of the mistake being theirs and the mistake being yours when you're sat watching it on YouTube and they've got like Hanshi and they're stood there, or Kyoshi, whatever, they're Hachidans stood there watching it right in front of their eyes? Who understands Ippon more? You've got to really start to think about that. So don't watch the videos and then be like, well, why was that? That shouldn't have been Ippon or something like that. You need to look at it and think, why was that Ippon when it didn't meet what I thought Ippon was? All right, I've got a video about it actually called How to Be a Better Shimpan. Do Shimpan. If you want to be better at Shiai, you've got to do Shimpan as well. So these are all things, okay? I'm going to stop because that really did go all over the place. But I hope it made sense. I hope you pulled something out of it. But if you want to, if you really want to join your national team, you're really going to have to give it everything you've got. All right? And they are the ways you can do it. Next one. Hello, Andy. Lately, I've been trying to practice ski, and you can imagine I'm struggling with it. The 2 aspects that elude me is timing and the actual movement. I've tried to move my arms forward, but my sensei says it's wrong. I'm trying to move my whole body forward without using my arms at all, but almost feels too much slow and sluggish. I've seen some shoot their left hand forward as a way to launch the kenten towards the opponent's throat. My questions are, when's the best time to perform a ski, and how does one perform a good and safe ski? Right. So, first off, I mean this in the best way, and this is probably because I'm all fired up now because of the rant I just had. But why are you trying to practice ski? That's the answer. That's the first thing you need to think about. Why is ski the forefront of the waza that you need to improve right now, and should it be? Think about that first. Secondly, because 90% of the time, if you've got the chance to do ski, you've also got the chance to do men. That's 90% of the time. However, putting that to one side, you have to do ski from your body, especially from your lower body. You step forward, you use your hips as you perform the ski, and at the last moment, you do lift your hands slightly, extend slightly from the left to make that ski action and press on the ago of the opponent's men. Now, the best time, well, that's difficult, and it depends on the person. I usually find the best times to perform ski are when the opponent is trying to step backwards, or if they are kind of just waiting, especially if they're waiting to do some kind of ojuwaza. I often find ski can be a good waza for that, but you have to be quite good at the technique itself to be able to launch the ski immediately without like a big setup. What lots of people do when they do ski is they kind of prepare their body before they do it. They kind of go ski this way, when really it has to be from your lower body. So there's that. And how you perform a good safe ski is it's basically you keep your left hand in the middle, make sure you control the shinai with the left hand, and move your body with your legs, and don't twist or turn your body, and don't move your shoulders. Okay, your shoulders don't come up for ski. Pam, ski this way. The shoulders don't come up. That's one thing. All right. So yeah, that's that. Next one. Hi Andy, will there be any time a Nito Shinai Daito and Shoto set to be regularly available over the shop site, or is it too niche for a regular product? Yeah, I probably will do that at some point. I probably will do that at some point. I'm sort of, yeah, all right. I'll think about it. All right, I'll think about it. I don't want to talk about Nito too much, but yeah, I'll look into that. All right, maybe we'll add it. All right, if you want me to add a Daito and Shoto set to the KendoStar website, leave a comment below. And if there's no comments, I'll do it. All right. Hi Andy, I've got a couple of equipment related questions. I was discussing Borger options with a new member at my club. Of course, I was recommending a nice and protective KendoStar set. Good. In response, they asked me why they couldn't just get a ridiculously cheap set and always use it with the kote and men pads to account for the lack of padding. Okay. I didn't actually have a great answer for that and told them I'd get back to them with a proper one. What are your thoughts on the matter? Are there rules that prohibit pads in tournaments? B, on Bamboo Dodai, does the Urushi lacquer eventually chip off like it does on the Membuchi? If it does it also happen with the Kijido? And C, what's your opinion on all black Membuchi and black Mengane? Would you get noticed, stand out in a bad way at a more traditional dojo, something like the Kyoto Taikai? Apologies for the long questions. Have a great day. Okay, right, let's start with the first one because that is a mess. That is a mess. I mean, all right, look, if you're going to have that attitude, right, I'm not directing this towards you. I'm directing this towards the person that said that. Why don't you just wear a motorcycle helmet? Why? And like some hockey pads or something. Why bother with Borgo at all? Just wear whatever protects you, right? You know, that's the kind of level that you're looking at, if you ask me. No, there's no rules against using the pads. But look, here's the practical answer, I guess. Using the men pad's not a great idea unless you really, really need to use it. The men pad, or if you're a kid and you're growing, the men pad can adjust the level of the monomi, so it doesn't necessarily line up properly with your eyes. The thing is chakso is an important part of kendo, right? For a start, so wearing the boga properly, looking correct, looking proper is actually a really important aspect of kendo. And if you look like a sort of Oscar the Grouch in his garbage can, then it doesn't really help you. Now, I'm not saying you have to wear an expensive boga to achieve that. But if you're wearing like the cheapest borger you can get, and I know there's some cheap stuff out there, and then just shoving pads in it all kind of says to you that you're kind of not really that committed to doing kendo properly or taking care over the important details of kendo. You'd be better off not wearing borger and saving up a bit longer for a boga that's going to make you look at least like a respectable kendoka. And secondly, even if it is really cheap, okay, so you can shove a kote pad in here, all right? But you can't do anything about protecting your fingers. You can't do anything about protecting your ski. You can't do anything about protecting your door or the protection your tare offers you. You can't do anything about the fact that the mendare probably won't protect you properly either, or the fact that it'll wear out really quickly. And you're going to have to buy a new one anyway. And that is, again, like I say, is not even accounting for the fact that you're going to sort of look like a noob for the sort of entirety of you wearing it. Now, you don't want to go for your like Shodan or Nidan exam wearing a borger that makes you look like, you just picked up Kendo yesterday and, you're using a club set. Obviously, I understand not everyone's in the position to, but look, it's part of it. It's important. Sorry, it's just a fact. You have to care about your appearance in kendo as well. it extends not just to your boga, it's your uniform as well, and it's your general appearance. You shouldn't turn up to the dojo looking scruffy and a mess, like with your hair all over or something like that. You just got out of bed. This is important stuff that you have to care about in kendo. It's part of holding the human, like the human courtesy in esteem. That's what the purpose of kendo is. Yeah, so it's not about prohibiting the rules or anything like that. It's about one, it's still not going to protect you properly. Two, it's going to wear out fast. Three, you're going to look like Oscar the Grouch in his garbage can. All right, so there you go. And yeah, I mean, you know. Anyway, B, bamboo dodai. I'm going to stop there before someone gets upset. Bamboo dodai, the urishilaka will eventually wear away and chip off. But I mean, you're talking, it's not like the membuchi laka, it's different. It's not urishi that's used on the membuchi for the most part. It's a different synthetic type of urishi for a start. The urishi that's urishi is not a great choice to use on the membuchi unless you apply it in the same way as you do onto a door, which takes several weeks. And I have seen, I'm not going to name anywhere, but I've seen places that, and I've seen in actual life, real urishi used on the membuchi. It looks great when it's new, but it chips off right away because they don't apply it in the number of layers and leave it the time it needs to dry, as they do with the dodai. So it tends to chip off really fast. Instead, the synthetic one's much better. So on a door, though, the way they apply it is over several weeks using several coats of the urishi lacquer. And it takes, I mean, you never see a bamboo dodai where she's sort of chipped off or worn away, really, unless somebody has used it for decades and it's the only door they've used and they've used it heavily. It's very, very durable. It isn't something that you need to consider. And it doesn't happen with Kijido because Kijido don't have lacquer on them. Kijido react differently over time because it is just raw leather. Of course, they're getting hit. They're getting rubbed by your arms and stuff like that. So they do get kind of worn. It looks very different. And yeah, it's not quite the same. So, but it's not like paint chipping off or anything like that. C, what's your opinion on all black membuchi and black mengane? Would you get noticed stand out in a bad way in more traditional dojo or something like the Kyoto Taikai? Black membuchi, I don't have a massive problem with. I've got a couple of men myself that have got a black membuchi. I'm happy to wear them. For the most part, I probably wouldn't wear them in the Kyoto Taikai. I probably wouldn't really wear them in, those sort of formal situations. Because there's a cultural reason why we have the red on the mem as well. That's quite important, I think. So I generally would stick to using red. Black mengane, I wouldn't use those. They're rubbish. The black mengane are rubbish. They're badly balanced. They're just painted black, sprayed black. So it chips off and it looks terrible. And it looks rubbish as well. I mean, it looks rubbish. You get the even when it's fully black, it looks odd. It doesn't look right, so I don't like it. So if you've got one of those, sorry, but you didn't buy it from KendoStar because they don't sell it. So sucks to be you. But yeah, if I was in the Kyoto Taikai or something like that, or even in my grading, I can't see myself wearing the black membuchi even. Last one. I've noticed that sometimes. Just quickly though, actually, I have seen people wearing the black membuchi in the All Japan Championships and in that as well. So it's not like no one's going to be like, what is he wearing like that? No one's going to be like that. The black mengane though, that's a little bit more obvious, and I think that probably would raise a few eyebrows. Hi Andy, I've noticed that sometimes people raise their right foot very high when performing Fumikomi to give extra time to sync their men strike. In general, we should try to keep the foot parallel with the ground and low and swing quickly, right? What advice do you have to increase your Fumikomi range when maintaining Kentai no Ichi? The problem is, right, what people are doing is they're trying to swing and leap forward and stamp at the same time. That's why. And I'm assuming that the problem you're talking about is with large swings of the shinai. If you do large swings of the shinai, you should swing and then leap forward and strike. That's the way to do that, okay? Swing Then leap forward and strike and try to time the strike with your stamp pretty much at that point. It's not with the stamp. That's the other thing, is that's where people get confused. You don't time your cut with the stamp. You time your cut with your leap forward. Your feet should almost go together. So it's not that you should stamp and hit at the same time. You should leap forward and strike at the same time. That's actual kikentai no ichi. In terms of the position of your foot, yeah, you should pretty much keep it parallel to the floor and reasonably low. It shouldn't come really high in an effort to try and time it with your swing. So yeah, you have to make sure you push from your left leg, swing up first, then push forward with your left leg, leap and strike at the same time, and the whole action completes together. I think that was the last one. That's it. Thank you for joining me today. I know I've had a bit of a rant today. I've had a bit of a bit of one there, but I think there's been some really great topics, really great questions. Really got me fired up. So thank you for that. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Shop at KendoStar. Join the Kendo Show Early Access group so you can see that video before everybody else. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.